Nocturnes coming in. You already mentioned the Kindred that we've seen recently from Ning. And Vi taken off the board already could open up the pool a little bit and make things a bit more interesting.
I feel like a pick that we should look out for is the Wukong falling into Jie's hands, because that is a champion that he's been looking relatively good compared to others in recent weeks, and it does seem like his comfort for the time being. It is going to get taken away instantly by Ultra Prime, but that does leave a lot of mid lane champions up and available. Something like the Annie could be considered, but like we said, we probably want to see Fofo on a carry champion, especially given Ala's current form, where usually EDG find the most success when Ala is on a champion like Gwen, and he does have so much DPS offered to the table, and just getting those flank angles and making the teamfight so much easier to execute. But unfortunately, I think EDG, they have to introduce us to something new.
Well, the B1 Renekton going to come on through, which, you know, we've seen a fair bit of Renekton coming into the league. Ala, this will only be his second game, but there was a win when he played it previously. And Ultra Prime, what is your priority? Do you want to try and find an early jungle lock-in for Ning? Or instead maybe going towards that mid lane? Because the thing is with jungle lock-ins is you can often give away your entire game plan by locking your jungle early. So it can be a double-edged sword. If there's a priority pick that you really want, then it can be fantastic. But if not, it can just mean they can draft around you.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jie does lean towards something like the Sejuani or Maokai and let Fofo play Jace mid lane to really find that early bully that EDG so desperately rely on when it comes to how they approach these game ones. But it is going to be the Kha'Zix lock-in blind by Ning. I'm very surprised by this because there's still so many junglers up and available, where I feel like this is a very confident lock-in, to say the least.
Yeah, it certainly is. The Kha'Zix there, and he's got one game on it so far. They split, and it was not a win, but clearly it's been working in scrims as EDG. They go for this Xayah HYCAN combo for Uzi and Mako. So looking to spike really hard at level 3 and try and dominate that 2v2. What Ultra Prime want to go for is their third lock-in here, something for the top side. Harry, very comfortable on the K'Sante, as are pretty much all of our top laners in the LPL. This has kind of been the staple pickup here. Doesn't necessarily you as hot into the Renekton, though. We've seen Renekton starting to edge that matchup out.
Yeah, surprisingly that Harry is going to take this matchup up against the Renekton. I'm assuming Ala did expect Harry to also pick that, as it is his most played champion, tied alongside, I believe, the Gnar. However, I feel like if K'Sante is going to be able to find those short trades up against the Renekton, where they often take Conqueror, that could be the way to go. And of course, you have amazing setup in frontline to kind of be able to enable Ning on this Kha'Zix pick. But once again, the mid and jungle are going to be left up and open for EDG, which is very surprising because you already see Ultra Prime taking the Annie away. So Ultra Prime is going to narrow down on the jungle pool, and that's something I'm very worried about because Jie, you look at his champion pool, you have something like the Scion and the Nocturne still available, and that could work with Mako locking in this Rakan.
Yeah, the Maokai taken off of the board. Sejuani would be open as well if he wants to go for that. That's kind of been one of the champs he's very happy to lean towards, but no, actually denying Fofo the Azir. We did talk about Fofo's Azir being comfort pick, and you could see actually Fofo reacting to that on camera. That was clearly something they were leaning towards. I mean, they've already got two birds in the composition. Why not a third?
Well, I think Sejuani would also work pretty well here, but that does mean you are lacking a bit of a peak. Depending on what Fofo wants to take in the mid lane, I wouldn't be surprised if he just defaults to something like the Jace. The Ashe did receive a slight buff in patch 13.12, but with the Xayah getting locked in, maybe it's the Kai'Sa 4 Doggo with Aphelios also getting taken off the board as well. But we haven't seen a single static Shiv yet. But we'll have to wait and see if EDG or Ultra Prime are gonna meet expectations with this current meta.
We're just in draft and Sword Art is already like shouting at his teammates. Like, for anyone that hasn't been in a room with Sword Art before, you can hear him over the crowd in the arena. He is one of the loudest dudes I've ever heard in my life. The vocal cords on that man are powerful, let me tell you. But the Nautilus going to be locked in. AD carry left for last pick. And leaving the Jinx open are EDG, because Jinx can struggle a bit versus Xayah during the laning phase. Can be exposed a bit by the Lovers duo. We've got an Elise locked in for JJ. I can't remember the last time I saw an Elise. He's played it once, but
often, well, yeah, okay. As expected, I wanted to elaborate on this, sorry, but you often see the Elise getting locked in once Maokai is taken off the board, but you desperately need AP on the team, so that does signify that Fofo is looking for a very powerful AD champion in the mid lane, and it is going to be the Tristana for this first game, and probably the Shiv, and it's gonna start really annoying how that lane party works in the mid lane's isolated matchup, as we highlighted that JJ has to have room to really look for angles and link up with Mako to secure that vision control around these major objectives. And EDG's composition for this game one, very aggressive early game, and they just want to look for picks.
I really like this from EDG. I feel like they pivoted. They really took their time the second half of this draft. When the Azir got banned, you could see Fofo visually react and be like, huh. I think that was their entire game plan, was go for the scale and go for team fights late. And instead they go, okay, let's lock in an Elise, let's lock in a Tristana, let's play aggressive and try and dominate early on. Elise Renekton is like a classic combo. You have so much power in that top side. You've got a ton of power in the bottom side as well with the HYCAN. And Tristana is more than happy to follow up on early skirmishes. So I actually really like this. EDG, it may not be a meta composition that they're bringing to the table, but with the strength of Tristana on this patch so far, I'm fully on board.
Yeah, really exciting draft to be introducing us to this Ultra Prime series. Like you said, the amount of dive potential is unlimited through this Elise and Renekton, but we also need to talk about Ultra Prime's draft. Relatively standard, we have the Jinx for the late game, we have Cassante and Annie for those huge team fights, but Ning on this Kha'Zix, both of these junglers are looking to shut each other down early on, but Kha'Zix in particular, he is trying to get that Umbral Glaive as fast as possible and link up with his support as well.
We'll see how this one's going to pan out. I'm excited for it, though. Both with the carry in the jungle. Ning versus JJ. It's kind of an old school matchup, honestly. Although JJ not been in the league quite as long as Ning. Ning kind of taking a break as JJ was beginning his career in the LPL. The Elise, though, against that Kha'Zix. Listen to those gyos. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. EDG, pretty significant fan favorite here today.
I'll be real, EDG fans and RG fans always show up when it comes to these live crowd events, and their crowds never disappoint the audiences sitting at home. But in this game one, we talked about how EDG, they're a very slow team and they struggle in that early game, but having such aggressive picks for this drop, the Elise, the Renekton, Tristana, they want to be forcing stuff early, but I feel like this comp overall is a bit of a feast or famine, and once you do reach over 30 minutes, it is looking a little bit scary for EDG to kind of continue that trend.
Yeah, I think the one thing that worries me as well for EDG is, like you say, it's a bit feast or famine, whereas Ultra Prime, they do have some early presence in their composition without it being so heavily, you know, early game favored that you worry about them late game. Like, they've still got the Jinx in the late game. You've still got Annie and Nautilus to start fights. You've still got the Cassante, which is always going to be a menace no matter when you are in the game. So we'll see how things are going to pan out across the course of this one. Looking towards this bottom lane as well, where EDG chose to leave this Jinx open to perhaps try and find presence during the laning phase down in that bottom lane. We'll see how they do with the HYCAN.
I'm honestly surprised that Ultra Prime didn't lean towards something like the Kai'Sa, where it's going to be able to match the early aggression, because locking in the Jinx up against EDG's composition, that does signify that you do lose a lot of those early one-item spikes, especially considering that you're up against the Shiv, Tristan, and Elise. So I'm not going to be surprised if Ultra Prime give away a few of these early objectives. The Chompers come out.
Good bit of damage here from Ultra Prime in the 2v2. Yeah, fantastic bit of work. Good hook from Sword Art. Great Chompers from Doggo. And I feel like this is a bottom lane of, like, Uzi and Mako are pretty much the forerunner in the conversation for, like, GOATs in their roles within the LPL, with, you know, Ruler trying to contest that with Uzi. And Sword Art and Doggo, who are two players that realistically the expectations coming into the split were fairly low, and they're wanting to prove people wrong. It's a total kind of opposite in terms of, like, big picture expectations for the two bottom lanes. But in terms of the standings and in terms of performance so far, this split is fairly even between the two.
Yeah, I mean, these names on the EDG roster have so much history connected behind it, but something else that I wanted to kind of shine a light on is EDG, although you might criticize how the players have been performing in their recent games, I think another thing that hasn't really been working out for them is their draft. And you often see EDG in a bit of an awkward situation where they don't have a lot of lane party, but they play the complete opposite. However, this game, they fixed that. They have Tristan in mid lane, so hopefully Jie, with this amount of breathing space, he is able to make up for the previous weeks of performances.
Nice bit of play there. The hook coming out from Sword Art, but Uzi doing a really good job to punish. What you'll notice when Uzi's trading on the Xayah once he's hit level 3, look at the way that he saves his Q. He's like, press W, hitting Sword Art, getting damage down, but the second Doggo steps up to try and auto him, he throws his Q and an auto at Doggo to threaten the potential route. So really, really great play coming out from Uzi. Like, watching the micro out from him when you're looking at the Xayah HYCAN is always a pleasure to watch.
I'm surprised that E didn't root, but we do have the EDG bottom lane resetting, and Sword Art is trying to look for a slight freeze on this bottom side, so that does signify maybe a potential gank from Ning. But Jie, he's looking in top side.
He certainly is. We said the Elise and the Renekton are a killer combo. Flashes for the Cocoon, but it's completely whiffed. Harry trying to get out with his life and still has flash. Ning arrives on the scene. And look, the combo's good if you can get the W into the Cocoon, but it was in a minion wave, so almost impossible for JJ to get it.
And now flash
isolated.
either.
Ning going forwards, looking for the kill. First blood for Harry, and now Ala in a 1v2. He wants to try and turn it around. Harry the target, but he goes down. It's disaster for EDG.
The worst possible way to start this game from the Elise, but EDG Fofa, he's going in, but he gets instantly hooked by Sword Art. He's dead.
It's going from bad to worse.
Well, he doesn't die, but he barely makes it out alive. A beautiful counter gank from Sword Art. Both supports roaming towards his mid lane. But we highlighted how EDG's composition, you need to be ahead early, but this Renekton and Elise both fall victim to Ultra Prime.
Here we go, JJ and Mako not gonna give up just yet. It's Forge the target. One more also, but the Ignite's
it's not
enough. Oh no, sub 10 HP and Forge walks out with his life. EDG, so proactive, but everything they do is just bouncing off.
Look, an attempt was definitely made, but at the end of the day, execution is what makes the difference. And Jie flashing over, trying to look for the point-blank Cocoon so Harry couldn't react to it. Unfortunately, overshoots it and misses, while doesn't really respect where Ning potentially could be on the map. Gets half his health instantly deleted by the isolation, and that leaves Ala in a bit of an awkward position as well. A 2-for-0 for Ultra Prime. And EDG's composition, I mean, no flash available for Jie, or the entire top side is going to be a very difficult early game.
Look how far ahead Ning is as well. Like 10 CS up in the jungle, already has that serrated Dirk. And that's the, I mean, Doggo knocked up in the bottom side of Uzi, gets a couple of feathers down, but they won't be able to follow up too much. Good route on Sword Art as well. They're just going to be clearing the wave. Yeah, the top lane obviously massively ahead for Harry on that Cassante, but I feel like Ning is the one you got to worry about because he's on a carry. He's on that Kha'Zix. If he can get another kill early on in this game, it might be curtains for EDG.
Hold your horses. Jie is still cooking something up on this Elise. I feel like Elise, after you kind of hit the 25-minute mark, the champion does fall off a cliff. As Ning, he is now level 6 on the Kha'Zix, and you never want Kha'Zixes to be safely farming in their own jungle and getting that first item spike online. I feel like it could potentially be either the Duskblade or the Umbral Blade, depending on how he wants to approach his game 1. Either deny the vision or really make up for that lack of damage in the top side and be that difference maker when it comes to these early skirmishes. But JJ is now level 5 and looking to clear his own camp, but it's looking a little bit disastrous.
Yeah, Ning not sure where he wants to go here. Is JJ backing off there? Might go for a dive here. The knockback is there, and the isolation damage is gone. See you later. Alan doesn't even get a chance to flash. He's just one shot.
Yeah, I mean, he also loses out on an entire wave as well. Fofa trying to look for something. Mako does have the E and W onto Doggo.
Oh, no. Flashed away from quickness. Not there for Mako just yet. He's still level 5. Fofo trying to make an attempt, and I feel like everything EDG have done in this early game has just gone dramatically wrong. At least they'll get a bit of zoning going. And Uzi gets a bit of solo time on the tower in the bottom side, but Doggo surviving. It really couldn't be going much worse for EDG right now.
That does deny a lot of the CS for this bottom side though, so Doggo losing out on 2 summoner spells. If Ala never died, this would have been a huge win for EDG to come back on, but because the Renekton fell, it is going to be a Rift Herald being traded over for this first dragon, putting this Jinx slightly behind. But I mean, I feel like JJ, he potentially could have been here for that counter dive, but unfortunately, both junglers are a little bit... I wouldn't say Ning is all over the place, because he still executed on it, but he did kind of like walk back and forth trying to spot out where JJ was, trying to look for that solo kill. It is going to be the Umbral Glaive first. Jumping from Fofo.
Wait a second. Forge just missed his Tibbets, but then Fofo put the bomb on a minion. That was the worst 1v1 I have ever seen in the LPL.
Hey, one's an ultimate and one's an E, so it's not that bad for Fofo. He comes out on top. The Tibbers has been burnt. Fofo not low enough with that Vampiric Scepter in his pockets as well, so he's not going to get poked out or bullied out by the full combo of this Annie just quite yet. But yeah, let's just pretend that never happened and Forge accidentally ulted the minion wave or something.
Fofo looking for Forge again here as Tibbers getting some damage down onto Fofo. It's not going to be too much. Like you say, the Vamp Scepter doing a lot of work as Mako trying to get vision. Almost gets one shot by Ning. Flashed on as well. Just gets 3 shot. Ning is taking over the game.
3 Qs and Mako's gone. Burns the flash as well. Mako is still sitting on level 5, so this flash is so crucial for EDG to work off. The Rift Herald is now going to get placed in mid lane. I mean, this is an excellent start for Ultra Prime, and Ning definitely stepping up as how much praise we've been kind of putting towards his name. Let's pretend Sora didn't just hook a Spiderling. But yeah, this game very entertaining to say the least.
Yeah, this has been kind of a comedy of errors, to be quite honest, so far. You saw Forge trying to get this stun on JJ as he came down, but the W not quite in range, and then, like you say, the hook from Sword Art, bit of a whiff. It happens, it happens. But hey, Ultra Prime with the lead. Ning having a phenomenal game for himself.
I mean, Mako just solo warding out here as that support, no backup whatsoever, and like a little bit disrespectful as well. Yeah, disrespectful and a jump scare, burning the flash as well. I believe he was probably 3 minions of 6, so imagine the amount of potential engage that this Rakan could have had, but unfortunately, this Kha'Zix picking up the Umbral Glaive, he just didn't expect the amount of damage, I suppose. As Ultra Prime, they're more than happy with the game state right now.
Oh, they really are. They really are. Fofo gonna be stunned up here. Tibbers comes out. He's trying to bait. He's trying to bait. It's here! And Forge actually survives that. I don't know how. By the skin of his teeth again. He's invincible.
Invincible's on another team, but he is very invincible on this Annie. I mean, man lived on 1 HP. Maybe it was the difference between the shield provided from her kit, but a really good bait from Forge and allows Ning to pick up his 3rd kill of the game. You never want Kha'Zixes to be this far ahead in the early game. And Fofo, I mean, yes, I know that you want to be going in after Forge uses his combo, but you also have to respect that JJ is now backing on the map and you have no people hovering you whatsoever. And it's just a really nice kind of exchange from Ultra Prime.
So close to Fofo getting that kill, but Forge barely getting out. And again, Ning is just... Hey, man, look at the Ultra Prime coaching staff. They're over the moon. Oh, this one's going. Baolan taken down, or should I say Mako. Ning says, get your hands off a Baolan's champion. But JJ answers it, finds himself an opportunity. Can they find more, though? Because the rocket's in from Doggo. And suddenly it's Fofo being chased down. He tries to turn it around, but stunned up by Forge here. The autos are out from Doggo. It's going to be another one. Double kill for Doggo, and Uzi's alone in the bottom side.
EDG is just getting picked apart one by one, and you see it. Mako dies alone once again, and JJ, at least he trades for the shutdown onto Ning, but Fofo W over the wall didn't have that way out. I mean, we get a replay. It was just the it was just the jungle and support synergy. But Kha'Zix is so much stronger than the Elise right now. At least he gets the return kill and secures that, so it does put EDG a little bit back into the game. Fofo jumps over the wall, but giving the reset over to Doggo and Forge having that stun available just meant 3 for 1 kills as a transaction, and Doggo has a double kill and a blue buff now.
Fofo is so tanky. Like, that took them so long to kill the Tristana there. I think Forge just everything on cooldown. Look at Ning's inventory. He's got a Mythic and an Umbral Glaive. We talked about the 1-item spike for Kha'Zix. He's on 2 items at 13 minutes. Like, this is a solo queue game for him at this point, as he is just taking over. And like you say, the double kill for Doggo, kind of mitigating a lot of the early lead that Uzi and Mako have managed to find in that bottom side. It's a 30, almost 40 CS lead for them down bot. And they will finish this tower off as well, getting that final plate within the last 15 seconds. But ultimately, Drake coming up on the board here. And EDG got the first one of the game. Perhaps this is their win con.
The rough thing is I don't know how EDG is going to be able to contest for any of these remaining dragons. Ning has an Umbral Glaive working alongside Sorta as well. Very hard for Mako to plant any vision down. You don't even see the Rakan rotating towards the top side and trading vision for the setup for Rift Herald. Perhaps EDG could have traded and get their, well, the entire team rotates there first and then puts this Rift Herald down for Fofo on the Tristana, where they do look for the side lane win con. But unfortunately, I mean, it's very scary to be a lonely Tristana in the side lane, where she does have that shiv picked up, but I don't know if you want to be pushing too far up against Ning in the jungle.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a scary place to be as Uzi narrowly dodging away from that zap. If that zap hits, he might honestly go down. Sword Art could definitely follow up on it. Harry now, pressuring in the top side as well. Gets his demolish proc. He'll be happy with that one. Walks away. He can rinse and repeat that later on. Herald back on the map. An Ultra Prime full vision dominance, as you'd expect, with, like you say, that Umbral Glaive going into play.
The value on a 1-item spike from this Kha'Zix is through the roof, but you have to also consider the game perspective from Jie. No vision whatsoever, and you really need to rely on your flashes to really connect that cocoon onto the enemy team from a visionless play like this, but not onto the support of Ultra Prime, as they're going to place the Rift Herald down. Doggo can look for more after the reset here. EDG need to be careful.
Honestly, JJ does not know how valuable that cocoon was, because that was Sword Art currently channeling a Hex Flash. Maybe could have looked for a hook into an ultimate off the back of it, but the cocoon stops the Hex Flash, saves the play. Tower still goes down to the Herald, not too surprising on that one. Harry actually should be able to finish off the tier 1 tower here, potentially. He's going to have a bit of solo time in that top side as Fofo went for the reset. Nobody's got a TP available on EDG right. Oh no, Fofo does actually. I don't know if Harry will be able to get there in time to finish the tower off. It was very low from the previous push.
Does seem like he is going to stay and finish off this Baron. Not Baron, the
There's
tower.
a lot of people around.
Maybe it just dies to minions if Fofo wasn't here, but oh, static shiv!
No.
Whoa, it
One
just cleared the
auto-attack.
wave! That's so healthy for the game, right? But like we see for the rest of the team, Ultra Prime, they are hovering towards that bottom side, leaving Fofo isolated in that top side. And I feel like EDG's composition, the Elise is a bit of a peel pick now. You use the cocoon to look for the singular picks or to just kind of play counter for Uzi. Realistically, you want to be hovering Fofo so he's able to step up in the side lane, but we don't see that so far. He is playing for the Zion Rakan.
Feels very difficult for EDG to contest space on the map right now. Ultra Prime, like you say, in control. Ning just blasted out those rockets to get a bit of first strike gold for himself. And Mako very confident walking forwards to get some vision here, but immediately will be cleared by Sword Art and Ning. Now Harry pressuring in the bottom side will be able to get a demolish proc off, and that's kind of the rinse and repeat strategy for Harry at this point. Just go forward, get a demolish proc, and then walk away. Do that enough times, he'll start to take these side lane towers. Forge gets the one up top. It's all feeling good for Ultra Primers. With that top tier 1 taken down now, they can advance that vision line a little bit deeper. Make it even harder for EDG to contest if Baron gets started.
This is what we were talking about, the hover from Jie, but the vision setup by Ultra Prime is going to spot this out. I mean, EDG, they have to just come back into this game from individual picks. I don't think they win straight up 5v5s. because Harry, once again, an absolute fridge on this Cassante with the lead that he was given. So even Uzi might get soloed in those teamfights if he's not too careful with his positioning. But with the dragon spawning in 1 minute, EDG, they can just look for 2 towers in this top side.
I think that's the play, right? Fofo gonna get pushing already, and you can see Uzi's moved up to the top side as well. They're gonna steal away the red buff. What else can they find? Oh, but Ala has been left alone on the bottom side of the map. Ning charging forward, gets the slow down. In comes Sword Art. The knock-up will come through, but the minion wave denies Ning's damage. And even with the rocket across the map from Doggo, Ala walks away with his life. So, trade of towers in terms of the tier 1s. Drake not up for another 30 seconds just yet, as EDG still trying to threaten in that top side. I don't think they'll be able to finish the tier 2, but I've been wrong before. Don't have a minion wave just yet. Nobody's actually responding yet from Ultra Prime. Harry now moving over.
A lot of engage committed towards Ala on that Renekton in the side lane, but like you said, EDG, they're going to commit to this tier 2 tower on the top side without any response. Ultra Prime a little late to the play, and I feel like this is an overall decent macro play from EDG and lets them come back into the game just a little bit as Ala wasn't caught out.
I feel like it's almost like EDG going, look, we have absolutely no world where we can contest this next Drake. Ning has to be on this bottom side to continue stacking the Drakes, so this is our window to find something, get a cross map going, and good call from EDG to get a bit of gold in their pockets. And when you look at the gold overall, it's 3,500 in favor of Ultra Prime, which is a sizable lead, but it's certainly not like the be-all and end-all. The one concern is you got like Renekton Elise, notorious for falling off later on into the game. I feel like if EDG do want to fight for this one, they've got to make it happen, and Forge is the target for now. He's going to be in trouble here. Ala uses the Dominus. Flash available if he wants it. He's going to have to back away now. It's Harry now behind enemy lines. JJ the targets. They flash on in. EDG need a miracle, and Ning's down. It's a huge shutdown into the pocket of Mako with Sword Art flashing on out. Ala getting one as well as Harry pulls Ala out of the way to get himself to safety, but Mako follows up Uzi with one. Harry next on the chopping block, and suddenly EDG have made the miracle happen.
EDG somehow come back into this game by forcing that team fight in the bottom side. I mean, Doggo just wasn't there. The Jinx was in the mid lane. And with 4 people dead, they're going to be able to wrap up this Baron at 20 minutes.
Ultra Prime becoming sub-prime beyond the 20-minute mark. Unfortunately for them, a disastrous sequence of play. Forge overextending, and the rest of the team committing to try and protect him. And it means EDG's play pays dividends. Now with a Baron in pocket, they've evened the gold.
Yeah, you have to consider everyone's positioning for this fight. Jinx was just nowhere near, and that is one of your biggest damage sources, but focus in on Ning. I feel like EDG played this team fight really well with just instantly killing this Kha'Zix and deleting him from the fight. And without your Jinx anywhere nearby, then Ultra Prime, they're kind of just left with 3 fridges. And no one was dying, but a really good revival play from EDG, and the game is back in their hands.
Oh, another pick. Doggo gets JJ. I'm not sure what on earth has just happened there, but Ultra Prime get themselves back on the board here. Gold is almost even in this one. Zuzi clearing vision alongside Mako, who does have to be a little careful. The Q3, a close one from Harry. And now the siege can begin. Doggo with Baron on his side on that Jinx is going to be difficult to deal with. But I will say, the static Shiv alongside Azaya, yeah, they got wave clear.
They definitely have wave clear and a lot of siege alongside this Baron now, but Ala more than happy to kind of start pressuring the side lane where Ultra Prime, I mean, giving over this Baron buff over to EDG was such a big mistake. I feel like Ultra Prime is the type of team where they don't struggle in the early game. They often find really successful early games through Ning, but the macro play sometimes does pull them down just a little bit, and a lot of throws are often seen in their series. So have to wait and see, because they still have a lot of scaling ability alongside Doggo, but you need to play with your Jinx and not force a 4v5 yourselves.
I think it's worth mentioning that, you know, we talked about the Renekton Elise not necessarily the greatest in the late game. Double AD carry is, and Renekton can still function as a big old frontline for you. So late game from EDG, while it's not the greatest composition for it, can't be completely counted out, especially with a Kha'Zix on the other side. It's not like Kha'Zix is known for being this insane late game carry, so Definitely still avenues available for EDG to keep themselves in this series. 2 Drakes, though, for Ultra Prime in the next one. In 90 seconds' time, you know that they're going to be focused on that.
You see Ultra Prime securing this mid lane priority and kind of just playing ARAM, as you really don't want to be making those previous mistakes. But I feel like Ala, he desperately relies on that flash cooldown for this up-and-coming team fight. A reason why they found so much success from that previous team fight was because Ala instantly flashed onto Ning, and he wasn't able to find that poke from the Evolve W. But EDG regaining that mid lane control and probably going to work towards that dragon and secure themselves a second.
Yeah. EDG, they were 5,000 gold down earlier on in this game. Now they are dead even on the scoreboard. Phenomenal comeback from them. And suddenly, it's the polar opposite of what we saw earlier in the game, right? It was Ultra Prime completely starving EDG of vision. Now they have no vision whatsoever around this Baron area. That ward going to push JJ and Fofo away as the recalls have come through from the EDG bot lane.
I think Ultra Prime, they need to play front to back for this upcoming team fight, though. I'm expecting a 5v5. Ultra Prime don't want to give up this soul point, which is going to be Ocean for this game. But Ala does have that flash coming up in around 20 seconds or so. Doggo needs to be protected by Forge and Sora, while Harry looks for his hands onto Uzi for the Xayah.
Ala's trying to find a flank here. He's over the wall. Ning clears the vision, though, and that's enough to dissuade the potential play. That static shift doing so much to buy priority in the mid lane for EDG, but Ultra Prime have control of the river for the time being. Ala moving into the rest of the team, and EDG, they're like, hey, let's just run down mid. We got a Tristan.
Yeah.
We can take these towers real quick, but Ultra Prime sticking to their guns, not committing, and the wave will die to tower.
They are going to just secure themselves that mid tower. If I guess the minion wave died, they were a bit hesitant on the play, so they're not going to be able to secure the second tier tower. And Ultra Prime, they want to look to kind of cut them off.
Here we go, hook from Sordar as he starts the fight off. Forge just got someone on the top side of the play as well. It's Fofo just about getting out with his life as Ning looks for more. Weird flash from Ning, I have to say. Flash is just to get some rockets out. Doesn't do a whole lot of much as Forge now on the chase. He's getting so much damage out of this Tibbers, honestly. 50 gold to JJ, but now Ning on the chase looking for more. Forces a flash. Ala icing out of the play, but the stun should come out from Forge now. There's one looking for JJ as well. That'll be 2 for Ultra Prime. It's a long old play, but they get the Drake and 2 bonus kills.
Ultra Prime, they get both the dragon and 2 kills into their pockets, while EDG, you see the hesitancy coming out of this team where they had the double AD carry composition. They had the mid wave pushing in towards the mid lane, but they were too scared to walk up because they didn't know if they wanted to contest for the dragon. Mako, you don't want to be there.
Good little sidestep from Doggo there. It's Mako. It's gone pretty low. You got to be careful because Doggo's ult's coming up against very shortly. Mako needs to get out of dodge. We'll be able to use the HYCAN recalls to get out of there. As Fofo leaving that wave for Uzi. He must be close to finishing an item. Let's take another look as Sordar, I thought it was a bit too much on the engage, but Forge saves the day.
Forge instantly pops Fofo and forces him out of the fight. Like you said, this Tibbers was getting so much value, just consistently burning down Jie. And one reset into another for Doggo to work off does mean both the top and jungle of EDG fall victim to this without gaining anything on the map. I really feel like EDG could have full centered on that mid tower and at least gain the vision control for this upcoming Baron, which is going to be in 5 seconds, but no flash available for your Elise is going to be a little bit tough. TP from Harry.
Oh, look at this. They really want the fight. It's Harry trying to find his target. They'll at very least brute force EDG out of this portion of the jungle. Forge is waiting in the wings, though. And Mako walks straight into the trap. He wants a little bit more onto Ala, too. Forge is doing mega damage this game on the Annie. And that is Baron open wide for Ultra Prime. What a game from Ultra Prime so far.
JJ is still alive, though.
Another hook, another find, another pick. Fofo gets out with his life as Uzi tries to make the heroics happen. Featherstorm cannot save him here, but the flash can. Over the wall. Ultra Prime somehow, Uzi and Fofo get out of their grasp, but the Baron is still taken.
I mean, once again, I think Ala is going to be able to pick up this second tier tower. Never mind, he isn't. So we see the same thing happen to EDG twice where they're giving over... Oh, it finally falls down. Sorry, I'm gonna stop molding, but Uzi not having that cleanse available. Really nice stun from Forge once again. And there's a reason why Ultra Prime have found their identity. It is through Forge on this Annie. A really nice rocket to spot out where Uzi is.
Oh, I thought Ning was going to find him then. Decides not to go for the solo chase. Doesn't want to overstep himself, and rightly so. I mean, Ultra Prime, if you're in this position, remember, this is a crucial series for playoffs. Sword Art doesn't go for it. The rest of their schedule is tough. They need every win they can get. And now against EDG, they've got them on the ropes. It's only a 3k gold lead, but with Baron in pocket for 2 more minutes, you should believe that Ultra Prime can make it work with Doggo on the Jinx. They need to finish this one off, so playing cautiously is definitely the correct play.
You see, Ultra Prime, they're forcing EDG to kind of respond to these side lane plays, but realistically, you want Fofo to be putting that pressure in the side lane where it attracts 2 people of Ultra Prime. But unfortunately, I think at this point in the game, Doggo can just get a tower and start running down and force a numbers advantage fight when it does come to the side lane. With the Dragon also spawning in 1 minute, Ocean Soul. EDG, they don't really have the circumstances to contest because Jie no vision to work of whatsoever.
Good respect from Ultra Prime as well. They take the tier 2s in mid and bot and they go, okay, time to reset. Drake's up in a minute. That's the real objective here. And head back to base. But I love the attempt here. I love the TPs, the rockets, everything to try and find EDG. But then Mako obviously only thought it was a singular TP. Has no idea that Forge is hidden here.
I think Forge really is the man of the hour, as we do have people contesting for this mid wave, but Flash is up and available for this Annie once again. We don't have cleanses or QSSs, and Mako is working towards that Mikhail, but unfortunately not enough gold just quite yet before the Dragon fight, so Uzi has to play very carefully with the space. Potentially through picks, but Harry, is he gonna get picked? No way.
I'm not sure what the G2 flare is from Sword Art there. Is Harry caught out before Forge goes in, turns it around as Fofo the target, and Harry surviving for the time being. Ala gets into the play, but Dragon's already taken, and Doggo's untouched. Ala into his GA, and this might just be more than a pick here. This might be the end of the game as Doggo takes a bit of damage, but Ala falls.
Yeah, but wait, bottom.
Ocean Soul.
It does seem like Ultra Prime, they're going to work towards that bottom side with the Baron buff as well. Flash hook.
Oh, what a hook. What a hook from Sword Art. It's another one for Doggo, and he can chase for a little bit more as well. Uzi and Mako still there. Fofo alongside him. I feel like the rocket just being used for vision at this point as they look for Mako, and he'll go down. Uzi over the wall, but no flash available for Doggo as Fofo does answer with 1. Ning grabbing that 4th kill of the fight, and now into the base go Ultra Prime and Sword Art. Looking for a contract in Europe next. He went and got the American money. He's looking for the European cash next, flashing up the G2 emotes. Mid lane tower goes down, and with the wave there, Fofo has the static shiv. But I think they'll just clear the game anyway. I think they'll just end this.
They're gonna just take
Cannon
it.
still there. Fofo forced away. That's 1 tower down. 2nd one. The cannon goes down, and Ala charges in. Can they actually end the game here? They've only got a few seconds on Uzi as well. Ala trying to tank up as the wave gets underneath the tower here. Doggo 1 more auto to finish the tower, but he can't step up. And EDG have somehow held on.
JJ does have the flash available. Can he look for the pick onto Forge? He doesn't have the flash himself, but he isn't going to pull the trigger. This is where you look for the comeback, EDG. But unfortunately, Ultra Prime, they get both mid inhibitor and the Nexus Tower scratch free.
Just about surviving our EDG. And like you say, JJ almost has the opportunity to flash in, dodging away from the hook from Sword Art as well. That hook hits onto JJ and the game ends. Like, all of that for nothing. Is Ning sneaking through, but spotted out. JJ hiding in this brush. Had the Night Harvester available, but look at this. Ultra Prime move in as a unit, rightly so. They don't want to give any opportunities to EDG.
You also have that wave slowly pushing in, and EDG, someone has to respond to that. But Baron is going to be spawning in 1 minute. No flashes for the carries of Ultra Prime. They can look for a flash cocoon here.
Harry buffers a lot of that CC. I mean, he's still 2/3 of his health. He's bloody invincible at this point as the TP coming on through. Forge gets onto the backline, but Fofo will just take him down. Fofo survives, and maybe a chance for EDG. A pick at very least. Still 5 strong. Quickness already used by Mako as Ala looks for a way into the fight, but no flash available for him either. The wave clear is certainly there for Doggo. I don't know if EDG will find much off of this one. 40 seconds on that Baron.
Does allow EDG to find a bit of space to breathe. Look for the vision control on this Baron. 30 seconds for Forge. No TP available whatsoever either. But JJ still is holding on to that flash. And Doggo, he doesn't have his own. So maybe they can get their hands onto the carries of Ultra Prime here.
I love how confidently Ultra Prime still push forwards. I've just noticed that Sword Art is like really on brand. He's sponsored by UPS and Microsoft Word Art. Like, that's kind of insane. UPS Word Art moving forwards here as he's getting his bag. 4K on the Baron. They're just going to burn through this one. It's just going to be taken before Ultra Prime even get onto the scene. This is a 4v5 still. Forge is not in the play just yet. Harry in the middle of the pit here. JJ kind of abandoned by his team. Has to flash over. Featherstorm out from Uzi early on in the fight as Harry looks for the all-out. Tries to find the carries here. Ultra Prime might just have done it. Sword Art there as Doggo jumps back into the play towards the Crocodile, though. This is dangerous. JJ trying to get the damage, but Doggo survives. And Ultra Prime have done it. It felt a little dicey, but the ace is there. TP's into the base. And Ultra Prime, they'll take game 1.
And Harry destroys the backline of EDG, occupying both Uzi and Moko instantly TPs towards this base and is going to secure this 1-0 lead up against EDG. And overall, what a convincing win from Ultra Prime.
Absolutely fantastic from Ultra Prime. Ning on the Kha'Zix just dominated the early game. He got such a huge lead for his team. And sure, it wasn't a perfect win. It wasn't the cleanest win, but a win is a win at the end of the day. And Ultra Prime, they need this one on the